My name is. Good evening, professionals. Good evening, friends. My name is Seun Damilare-Victor, the founder of Akin Performance Africa. I welcome you all to today's free webinar. Today, it's a very important topic we are treating today, and already we have our facilitator in the house today. But before we dive into today's session, can you please confirm by raising a hand or just say hi in the chat box so I can be sure that the audio is fine? Just raise a hand or say hi so I can be sure everyone can hear. So let's quickly do that. Just type I in the chat box or raise a hand. Thank you, Wulabi. I see your hand. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's mute our microphones. There will be time when everyone would be able to ask questions. So for now, let's mute our microphones. Okay, so today we'll be looking at the topic we call HR analytics as a game changer. It is also called people analytics. So is either you call it HR analytics or you call it people analytics. But quickly, just to let you know about the network that has put this together. Like I said earlier, I am the founder of Akin Performance Africa. And in Akin's Performance Africa, we help young professionals to cross their career bridges. And our motto is growth and impact. And we usually have free webinar series just like this. And we have other programs in the network, programs like Career Clinic. We also have offer our members free personal branding tips, free Akin performance tips that can help you, increase your productivity at work. We also share verified job vacancies within our network. We also offer discounted learning programs and coaching services. In the Akin Performance Network, we have over 20 mentors who are senior professionals, either in engineering, in finance, in HR, in IT. So this is not just an HR network, it's a network for every discipline. Okay, so that is all about Akin Performance Africa. If you want to know more about Akin Performance Africa, I would share the link to our WhatsApp group later on in the chat box. You can feel free to join us. So having said all of that, let's dive into the topic for today, or the main reason why we are here. But before I do that, I need to introduce to us our facilitator, who is also a mentor on the Akin Performance Network, who has agreed to share from his wealth of experience today on this topic. His name is Emmanuel Abegunde, as you can see on the flyer. Emmanuel Abegunde is presently the head of human resources at Pedabo Nigeria Limited. Pedabo is one of the top and leading consulting firms in Nigeria. Before that, he had worked at Nielsen IQ as HR business partner East and West Africa. And before that, he had worked in other organizations, just to mention a few: Aerial Technologies, Instant Web Net Technologies, and he's also a consultant. He runs a consulting firm called Genosco Professional Services. Genosco is an alumnus of the Obafemi Awolowo University. He has a master's in business administration from Oxford University. Sorry about that. Isaiah, can you please help me? I've made you a co-host. Please help me moderate the room, please. Thank you. Sorry about that. So like I was saying, he's an alumnus of the Obafemi Awolowo University and holds an MBA from Nexford University. He is also a certified HR professional. He has PHRI. He has a diploma in human resources management from Asian Online Education. He has a certificate in inbound marketing, digital communications from Oxford Academy. Emmanuel is one of the leading HR professionals in Nigeria, and maybe he'll still do more introduction about himself. But ladies and gentlemen, we have brought to us today one of the HR experts in Nigeria today, who is going to deep dive into the topic, people analytics, HR analytics as a game changer, right? What is HR analytics or what is people analytics? It's majorly about collecting and analyzing human resources data for the purpose of improving talent performance and business performance. Okay, most people, when they hear analytics, the next thing that comes to their mind is maybe mathematics, maybe statistics, maybe having to understand advanced Excel. Well, Emmanuel today is going to break all of that myth and let us know how you can start people analytics in your little space, how you can distinguish yourself from other HR professionals. Because today, when we're in a gig economy, we're in a data-driven economy. If as an HR person, you do not like numbers, you do not like data, you do not like analysis of your human resource data, how can you make business decisions? How can you be credible? How can you be influential? Because all that we deal with in HR, from talent acquisition, onboarding, payroll, compensation and benefits, performance management, OD, everything is about numbers. We are dealing with head counts, people's salary, overtime, shift allowances, all of that. So we must be interested in numbers. And to be an HR professional with exceptional achievements, you should be able to use data to speak to business leaders, should be able to speak business language. And all of this requires having a love for data, analyzing data, and also using data to give insights into business performance and, of course, individual performance. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am not the facilitator. I'm just trying to do an introduction. So, let's make welcome today our facilitator, in person of Emmanuel Abegunde. Can you please go to the chat box and tell him a very big welcome and let us know what you expect from today's webinar. So Emmanuel, if you can hear me, I'm sure you can. I want to hand over the virtual mic to you to take over. So while Emmanuel is presenting, he has about 35 to 40 minutes, because it would be very practical as much as possible, even though he told me that he lost his presentation and he had to quickly cook up something for us within 20 minutes. We trust his experience and expertise on this topic. He will do a good job. So please, let's keep our microphones muted. If you have any questions, please drop it in the chat room. You can send to me or send to Chibueze Isaiah, one of the co-hosts in today's webinar. So thank you so much as Emmanuel takes over from here. I'm going to stop sharing now. Over to you, Emmanuel.
Thank you. Thank you, boss. Good evening, everyone. I want to guess that everyone is in Africa, but just in case I'm mistaken, good afternoon, good evening, good day. All right, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. I don't know the profile that was read earlier. I don't know who owns that profile. I don't think that's me.
You are disowning your own profile, Emmanuel.
because if that's my profile, that would be setting someone up for failure. I'm learning, right? I'm just a learner like every other person on the call this evening. Yes, SDV said I'm a mentor on the HPAM network. Well,
Hi, Emmanuel.
And we are learning from each other. But that said,
Emmanuel, we can't see your video. Your video is not activated, your camera.
Of Hacking Performance Africa Network.
Hello, Emmanuel. Seems he has a bit of network issues. Let's hold on for him. Hello.
Okay, so please, can anyone hear me?
So we lost you for a bit. We lost you. Maybe you have to repeat the things you said. We lost you for
Yes. I don't know what happened. The network the router seems to be full, but the internet wasn't connected. So I had to quickly connect to my phone hotspot. Apologies for that. It's one of the things we had to deal with when we are working virtually and having virtual classes like this. So I was saying that at exactly 6:23, my personal laptop stopped working. I couldn't just do anything on it again. Yeah, it was wide open. I could see my applications, but nothing was working on it. I couldn't even shut down or anything. So I had to then get on my office laptop and start redesigning my slide from the scratch. So apologies if my slide is looking kind of untidy. I had just about 40 minutes. Thanks to SDV for that long introduction of someone else. Right, I was able to come up with a few slides to help us, but then I could see that time is running. So we appreciate if all of us can stay muted so that there are less distractions on the call. So I'll not be turning on my video so that I can save myself some bandwidth. I don't know what is wrong with my MTN network. And unfortunately, both my router and the phone are on MTN. So I'm not able to join any other network aside this. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen, but just to define expectations quickly, I'm hoping to run through these slides very fast, right? I'm looking to running it very fast, and then we can quickly look at some practical examples, just so that we can take something away from this session today. And I hope we are recording, and probably we can have access to the recorded file later. By the way of introduction again, I'm Emmanuel Abegunde, husband of one wife, father of 2 children, and the head of HR at Pedable Professional Services. Thankfully enough, my wife is also in the class this evening to give me moral support. Okay, so HR analytics as a game changer. We understand, I want to believe we understand, it almost became a buzz around when we started, especially around 2014, 2015, distinguishing between personnel management and strategic HR management, right? And if for anything, the story about the evolution of HR came into the scene. Most of the HR seniors actually told us what used to happen in the past and how that we should embrace a new way of working, a new way of thinking, and a new way of doing HR. And that is where HR analytics actually comes in. Now, for the younger folks on the call like me, if you are my age or maybe younger, you would agree with me that, say, some 20, 25 years ago, now that makes me look kind of old. But some 20, 25 years ago, if probably you are one of those people that used to visit your parents' office, or you just go to their workplace with them, maybe you are attending a staff school or you're attending a school close by, and then you are going to the office so that you guys can go together like I used to do, you would see what the office structure looks like, right? Typewriters everywhere, cabinets, file cabinets everywhere, a lot of papers everywhere, you know. And that all of those things that you used to see those days were the ways of working at that time, which was actually an improvement on the ways of working prior to their time. So they would also tell you that there were a lot of innovations around that particular type of working, okay? And then gradually, around, say, 2001, 2002, typewriters started phasing out gradually. And then you see all these desktop computers, you know, that are so big, right? You know, with a CPU, another very big CPU, right? And large keyboard, you know, and then there is a UPS by the side because power is not reliable. Gradually, those things started changing. And then you start seeing a lot of floppy diskettes and CD player that they are using to actually store information. And I remember when I was in school, another, you know, another phase of our practice came up, and we were moving away from the desktops. People started using laptops, so that you are using a Pentium or an AMD. You know, some people are using Pentium 2, they were using Pentium 4. Many people cannot relate, I know, right? Pentium 4, your system will load and load and load before it comes up, right? And then some big boys in school those days were using, what do we call it? They were using AMD, right? Which was faster. But now, I mean, many people cannot even relate to all those operating systems. What I'm saying in essence is that technology has changed the way we work. Technology has changed the way we think. Technologies have changed the way we do things. When my slide crashed just a few moments ago, like I told you earlier that my slide crashed, guess what I did? I quickly turned to ChatGPT to design slide for me. Right, so I quickly turned to ChatGPT to design a presentation for me, but I wasn't very okay because it was a rush. I wasn't very okay with the input I was getting. I had to quickly just put some things together from previous slides that I've worked on in line with this presentation. All right, so all of this is a show that technology is a game changer for us. I mean, how can I have worked 2-3 hours on a particular presentation, and then just 40 minutes to when I'm going to be having that presentation, technology disappointed me, and then I was able to leverage technology again in order for me not to disappoint my participants. It is amazing how much we can achieve and how much we can do when we embrace technology. And HR analytics, someone will start asking, how is HR analytics technology? It is actually enabled by technology. So you cannot talk about data without talking about technology, right? And that is where we are going today. So I'm going to talk about what analytics is, why analytics is important, and getting started with analytics. So moving on, what is HR analytics? What is HR analytics? HR analytics is simply, I will appreciate if you can stay muted, thank you. HR analytics is simply that field of analytics that deals with how to get people data, how to conduct people-based research, and how to actually use that data that we have gotten to improve people processes and performance. I will take that again in another light. It is the field of analytics that helps us to research people-related issues, to come up with predictions around people-related issues, and to help with those predictions to improve and optimize performance, to improve and optimize retention, to improve and optimize people-based initiatives in a corporate environment. Most of the time we call it talent analytics, workforce analytics, etc. The most important thing that we need to note or to take note of is that HR analytics is about people data, and it is about using this data that we have gotten to improve performance. So performance can be seen in different lights, depending on the kind of metrics you are putting together. So if you are looking at performance from productivity perspective, or you are looking at performance from people talent retention perspective, or you are looking at performance from the perspective of optimizing your people resources or optimizing your HR practice, HR analytics helps you to achieve all of this. And we are going to see some practical examples, as we move on in the conversation. Why is HR analytics important? Why are we talking about HR analytics? Why do we need to develop analytics capabilities within our HR function? And why do you, as an individual, need to develop analytics capability? We can see something here from AIHR, that's Academic for Innovative HR, and they have given us like 18 merits, so 18 importance of HR analytics. But beyond what we can see on the screen, and by the way, I'm going to share this so that it can be a reference document for further study. Beyond all that have been written here, let's bring it down home. When I said earlier that HR analytics helps you to improve performance, what does it mean? What does it mean? There's an expectation from the HR of now. The expectation from the business owner of the HR of now, of the HR of today, of the HR of 2023. And those expectations, right, can be captured in the important metrics and KPIs that have been given to you. So what are the typical KPIs or key performance indicators or key result areas that are expected of an HR function or an HR department or HR personnel? Number one is that we must be able to provide the business that we support with the right number of people, resources, or people or human capital to actually run that business. We must be able to provide key talents with key capabilities, right, in order to drive the business of the business, right? We must be able to provide people, right? And not just providing people, but people that will drive the business. We must be able to train those people. We must give them what they need to succeed in those roles. We must be able to engage those people. We must partner with the business leaders, right, to ensure that talents are engaged, okay? We must ensure that they understand their role in the organization, they understand the importance their role plays in the organization. We must bring their hearts to the business, okay? All of those things are key and important KPIs that is expected of an HR department or an HR function. We must ensure that our people are properly remunerated. We must ensure that we keep attracting the best talent. And all of these things can actually be enabled using analytics. So if you are talking about recruiting the best talent, what is your recruitment strategy? What are the best sources of candidates that have given you the best of results. So if you look at your recruitment pipeline or your talent acquisition pipeline and your talent acquisition success so far, what are the different channels of recruitment that you have in your organization? You need to identify them. So let's say you have LinkedIn, you have referrals, you have people that just walk into your reception or your security gate to drop their CVs. Maybe you use recruitment agencies, and all of those. You need to be able to create a database to capture the number of profiles you are getting. And then what is the journey of your recruitment process? When people submit their CVs, how many of them were able to pass your assessment center? How many of them were able to pass your interview? How many of them get to the offer stage? How many of them accept your offer? How many of them resume? Okay. And how many of them are core performers? They are top performers within the first 6 months to 12 months of their work in your organization. When you have been able to identify this, or you have been able to create a database for this, analytics becomes easy for you, because you can then use your analytics capability to check the success rate from each recruitment channel. How many people came from LinkedIn? How many people came from newspaper adverts? How many people came from referrals? And what are the most potent sources that have given us the best of results? So how do you measure your results? Your result is that the people that accepted your offer and the people that performed optimally amongst those that accepted your offer. So which recruitment source are you getting them from? That points you to where you need to invest more money, more time, more energy, right, in terms of recruitment. So if your best source is referrals, then you are able to divert your initiative to making it much more potent in order for you to continue to get more profiles to supply to your business. If your best source is a particular recruitment agency, then you may need to look at how to craft your strategy around that, understand what that recruitment agency is doing, or continue to engage them for talent acquisition. Okay, learning and development as well, you can get a whole lot. So HR analytics is important because it helps us to run an efficient and effective HR system. It helps us to save time. It helps us to add value. So if we look at what we have on the screen, we have evidence-based HR. HR analytics helps us to achieve the practice of evidence-based HR. What am I saying when I say evidence-based HR? One of the reasons you have been losing your initiatives, your fantastic HR initiatives, right? You've not been able to table them correctly to the management, or management has not approved many of these initiatives that will really solve real-time problems in your organization, is because you have not come with evidence, you have not come with data, right? Data is king. Someone said something that is quite very key. He said, without data, every other person in the room has just come with an opinion. So it's either you are coming to the table with an opinion, or you are coming with an evidence. Now, the workplace of 2023 does not run with opinion. The workplace of 2023 runs on statistical models. They run on data, they run on evidences. I'll take that again. The workplace of 2023, the post-COVID workplace, the agile workplace does not run on opinion, it runs on evidence. So with HR analytics, we are able to provide your business with evidence-based HR. So when you get to management meeting, you are not saying, I think, okay? Because when you start the presentation of your initiative with I think, you probably have lost that battle, okay? You probably will never get financing for that initiative. But when you come up with data from historical data that we have, we've seen that 75% of our people prefer this. In the last pulse survey that we ran, we saw that this and this and this are what will, improve our efficiency. Then you are speaking, right? We've seen that our attrition problem is based on A, B, and C, because from the data we collected at exit interviews and pulse survey, 95% of the people said A, B, and C. So you are not presenting an opinion, right? You are presenting evidences. So it is not a case of HR is just fighting for himself. HR is just saying this so that, because of what happened, right, that he doesn't like, or that she doesn't like. HR is speaking from data and employee experience perspective. Next is improving recruitment and talent acquisition. I explained that earlier, managing employee performance and productivity. How can you use evidences to manage productivity? Where are your top performers coming from? What are the top performers doing right? Okay, you need to know. It's very important. What are the top performers doing right? Are your top performers working hybrid, or are they working remotely? Are they working with specific business units? Or is it that the product is performing, a particular product is performing more than other products, and that product is making people look like they are top performers? You need to understand so that you are not guessing. And then when you understand the trends of performance, you are able to then duplicate it across your different business units. It helps you to prevent turnover. When you are able to gather the right data, you are able to see what is the issue with attrition. And then it helps you to then create initiatives to addressing that. It helps you to save money or optimize your budget, right? It helps you to uncover trends. It helps with safety. It helps in preventing misconduct. And there are different ways, in which you can get this, in which you can get all of this information. But the first thing that you need to do is that you need to set up your tech stack. And I'm going to get there within the course of the conversation. What is tech stack? How do I set one up? How do I improve my analytic capability within my system? All of those are important. Let's quickly take a look at this framework, analytics framework. You can see the 6 steps that have been identified or itemized here. Number 1 is that, and you need to actually understand this framework before you get into developing your tech stack, okay? So in setting up your analytics framework, you need to start with questions that pertains to the business. And one of the ways in which you can do that is to look at the core metrics through which you measure the effectiveness and the productivity of your business. Now, remember we said business and not HR. You see, when you start with HR, you are probably on the path to not, succeeding in that initiative you are starting. You see, because HR is not for HR, HR is for the business. You are trying to optimize HR in order to deliver value to the business. Okay, so you start with the business. What is the direction of the business? What is the strategy of the business? What are the pain points of the business? What are the things that are crucial to the business at this time? And that is why, as a HR, you need to understand the strategy of your business. You need to be in the strategy design, the strategy meeting. You need to be there. You need to understand the direction, the focus of the business. If you don't understand where the business is going, I'm sorry to say, you will not be part of the drivers that will take the business there or to its destination. I mean, you can imagine that you are embarking on a journey, maybe a flight, right? And all of you got on the flight. And after you've gotten on the flight, the crew has given you all the safety measures, they've done the onboarding and all of those things for you. And then your pilot just spoke out through the loudspeaker and said, thank you. Even though I don't know where this flight is headed, but I'm sure you are going to enjoy your flight. You are going to enjoy your ride with us because we are the best in A, B, and C. I'm sure you are not going to hear any other thing the pilot is saying because, Oga, I don't understand. You don't know where we are headed. So where are you taking us to? Am I communicating something to someone? You don't know where we are headed. So, okay, so what is happening here? Oga, don't start this engine. Let me just get down, right? You know, some people will start shouting blood of Jesus that what is happening here? You know, so, and that is the thing. The strategy of the organization actually tells us the goal of the organization and the step-by-step plan of how they want to get to that destination. So what is the business goal? If you don't understand the goal of the business, you can't drive them there. It means that every other person, every other function, pardon my French, every other function in the business that understands the strategy will drive all of you there, and HR will only be there as administrative support. Which is why we are saying that HR analytics is a game changer for you because it then helps you to be a co-pilot. It helps the business to be, you know, it helps the HR function and whoever is occupying the seat to be a co-pilot, to say we are moving in this direction together. This is where we are going. This is what we want to achieve. These are the things we need to do from an HR perspective to achieve our strategic objectives. So start with questions that pertain to business goals. The next one is to develop an analytics plan. What is your analytics plan? We'll get there in the course of the conversation. Collect necessary data and ensure accuracy and completeness. You see, some of the things, we actually have a lot of tools and a lot of information in our hand to help us to do better than we are currently doing, but we are not necessarily exploring those tools well enough. We are not effective in exploring what we have. One of those tools is your employee database. So you have filing system, maybe on the cloud, or you are still using cabinet, you know, and all those paper files and all. Whichever way it is, whichever one it is, all of those paper documents or all of those forms that your employees fill when they join the organization are actually data. They are data sets that you can use to improve your HR system. So you've collected their name, you've collected their date of birth, you've collected their health report, you've collected their agenda, you've collected their highest education, you know, or educational history, you've collected next of kin, you've collected place of residence. Do you know that those information that you've collected are data inputs to giving you bigger insights? All of the asks, you know, salary information that you document, you know, highest education that you have documented, gender that you have documented, age that you have documented, are actually important data for you to solve problems or for you to stop some set of problems from happening in the future. I will give you an example. Why do we need to collect data on age, for instance? You see, you need to manage the age profile of the people that are working in your system. You need to be able to group them. Feedback and distraction. Okay, admin, can you please make it, make this, there's this function on Zoom.
Just go ahead, I will do that. Yes, I will do that. Just go ahead. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, so as I was saying, why do we need to collect the age? You need to know that so that you can actually distribute the different personnel, the different human capital within your business. You can distribute them to different generations, millennial, and it actually helps you to know the age of people to continue to recruit at different levels of the organization. Because again, if the average age in your organization is 40, you are going to have a tired organization in the next 5 years. I'm going to take that again. If the average age in your organization is 40, you most likely will have a tired organization in the next 5 years. You see, because if your mid-level guys are 36, 37, 38 at mid-level, your mid-level is the operational headquarters of the business. You need them to be up and active and agile. If your mid-level is that old, it means those guys will be looking at taking decisions already instead of driving core operations, instead of driving agility, instead of driving innovation. They just want to sit, look at data, and make decisions. And that is your mid-level. So you are tired already. And that is why I don't blame organizations when they say our graduate trainee age should be 25. It's because they are trying to ensure that they maintain agile and a productive workforce. Okay, all of those things are very important. Why do we need to collect address and why do we need to continue to update that database? It's because I want to know where my people are coming from. So first subsidy has been removed. You can imagine your office is in VI and all your people are coming from Iyanokpaja, Egbeda, Cement, Bega, Ojodu. You need to know. And then you need to also know where your competitors' offices are located, so that if your competitors that are paying the same thing as you are paying are situated, in Ikeja, in Allen, guess what? You start losing your staff to those competitors. So data helps you to actually know what is happening, right? What you need to do to ensure that you solve the problem that you have seen. You gather, analyze, and generate key insights. I've spoken about that. You create initiatives and take action. So when you have seen the trends in your data, you then begin to take initiatives. What do we need to do? People are living in so and so area. Do we need to create another office hub on the mainland? Do we need to do transport allowance separately to be able to cater for this? Or do we need to start considering accommodation option or staff bus option? What do we need to do? That is when you start creating initiatives, and then you measure and monitor and adjust the initiatives that you have created to see the kind of impact those initiatives are making. And when the initiatives are not making as much impact as expected, you go back to generate key insights. You go back to gather more data. You start doing deeper level of analytics in order to be sure that you are where you need to be and that you are adding value. So let's quickly look at setting your tech stack. Now, your tech stack is a set of integrated software or platforms that helps you to improve and expand your HR function. Things like your applicant tracking system, your performance management system, your learning management system, your attendance management system, your leave management system, your payroll management system. All of these systems, tools, and technologies are part of your tech stack, okay? Like we said here, these tools digitize certain tasks, thereby helping HR professionals to better manage their workload across different areas, such as talent acquisition, benefits administration, leave management, performance management, etc. You can imagine a world without software. How cumbersome the work will be. You can imagine that everyone in your organization, so you have 500 staff, and everyone wants to apply for leave, they bring paper, they come to collect paper from HR department. From HR department, they go to their manager to sign the paper. Then they go to their ED to get approval. Then they come to HR, and then you are documenting. Very soon, your office will sit in a stack of papers. But with cloud-based technology, you can actually do all of this from anywhere you are in the world with the punch of a button. Now, what are the benefits of having these technology tools? Number one, it boosts employee experience. You're able to cut out wasted times, right? You are able to boost employee morale and experience. You imagine that your entire HR is digitized. So when people want to spend their training budget, they just, there's a part on the software that they can actually tell you the kind of training they want to take. You know, they've seen a vendor that offers that training. They apply for the training. Their manager approve it, you approve it, sends to finance. You know, finance pays the invoice from that vendor. The employee takes the training, they give feedback on the learning management system, and then they click submit. Everything, you know. As a matter of fact, your tech product should even be improved, right, and agile in such a way that people are not writing so much. You're not giving them to type so much because there are options there. You don't leave it blank for them to think and type and all of those. There are options for them to just click and move on. You are collecting data of all of this from the backend. Employee experience is part of it, right? It helps to engage your employees. It boosts productivity. It cuts out wastes in terms of timing. Another thing is that it enhances efficiency. In other words, you're able to save time. You are able to save time through automation. If your payroll system is fully automated, you are able to save time. You know, I was consulting for an organization. We are actually doing some executive hiring and talent acquisition for them. And I noticed that anytime I send report around a particular time of the month, for like 2 weeks, they are not responding to me. So I called the head of HR and he was telling me, Emmanuel, this period is payroll period, I don't have time. So anytime it is payroll period, for 2 weeks, everybody in that unit, they are busy running payroll. And I'm like, how ineffective and unproductive can this be? Only if you can automate your your payroll process, so that within 3 hours, you have done what you have done in 2 weeks. Within 35 hours, everything you need to do has been achieved. You are only reviewing what has been done, and then you are going through the approval process. You're able to cut out that wasted time, and you're able to invest it into other productive activities that is expected of you or the department. And then it minimizes mistakes. Your mistakes and errors will be minimal if you are using agile technology tools. Okay, it minimizes mistakes, because when you digitize complex processes that require certain level of precision, you can imagine that you have to type people's account details at every time. You just pay Bala Mohammed's salary instead of Mohammed Bala that are possibly both using GTB, you know, because just one figure error or one number error could lead to catastrophe. So you want to ensure that you minimize mistakes as much as possible. Having your HR tech stack helps you to achieve that. So what are the things you need to do to build your tech stack? Number one, you need to audit the existing HR processes. You cannot overanalyze. That is one. Number two, I need to rush, sorry, because of the time. You need to identify must have and nice to have. I see a lot of chats on many of our WhatsApp groups saying that can somebody recommend an HR software? And the question I always ask them is, what do you need? Don't ask us to recommend an HR software. What exactly do you need in your HR software? Because I may be recommending an HR software that doesn't have what you need. Again, they said what you need in your HR software. So you must have, those are the things that you need. Your nice to have are just additional. So what are the products you must have on your HR information system is very important. Okay, you need to research the process required for inclusion. The process that this software as a service has offered, does it align with your own processes? Can your people relate to it? It's very important. Consider system integration, especially if you have different technology products. Okay, so you may be using SAP, you are using Sage, you are using Zoho, all of these different products in your technology stack. Is there possible integration? Can these different systems from different service providers talk to each other? It is very important. Okay, then you need to address security, compliance, and ethical issues. Very important. There are data protection guidelines that you must follow. You also want to ensure the cyber security. How secured do we have firewalls? How sure are we that hackers will not hack into this system and take our people data? Very important. Then you need to constantly update your tech stack. That is also very important. So what are the key considerations in choosing your tech stack? I will not talk too much about this. Your company culture is very important. If your culture is very agile, it's a very young workforce, very agile, you cannot choose a technology tool that has poor user interface and user experience. You cannot choose a tool that has too many SIMs in it. Okay, so you need to consider your culture. If your culture is such that you have more Generation X and baby boomers within the system, you need to also ensure that the technology tool that you have, right, speaks to those generations, right? It is not something that is too difficult for them to navigate, okay? Then integration, like I said, is very important. How can you integrate with current and existing systems? Then do you have remote access? Does your staff work for remote employees or not? Must you use a physical server, to run your processes, which means everybody must come to the office to work. That means there is no cloud-based system. And then future needs, is this scalable? Is this scalable? If you are increasing your numbers, if you are increasing your processes or your functions, can your technology scale to meet up with your demand or your future demand? Those are very important. So let's take a look at this. A model tech stack, you have core HR functions, like HRS, payroll solution, comp and ben, management software, comp and ben software, applicant tracking system, etc. For recruitment, you may need applicant tracking system, you may need assessment center tools, you may need video interview platforms, you may need employee referral software, you may need recruitment marketing platforms, depending on what you are doing in your organization, okay? And for employee experience, employee experience is very key, and you can lose people right from onboarding. What is your onboarding like? Do you have an onboarding software? You send immediate emails to people as they are joining, like the first thing they see when they join your organization, when they sign up to their email, is an email from HR welcoming them to the company, something like that. Your software must be able to do that. Do you have a rewards and recognition software? When I was at Nielsen, we have a rewards and recognition software. So you can actually nominate an employee for different employee awards. We have gold, we have silver. I can't remember the exact name we call those awards now. I can't remember really, but you can recommend, and once it is recommended, HR sees that recommendation, the director in charge of that unit sees that recommendation. Once it is approved, in fact, the employee immediately then gets notification that you have a recommendation for this particular recognition, and it is under review. Once it is approved, you also get another prompt immediately on your email, because the platform was integrated to the email system. And then immediately that recognition is approved, there is a gift card that you get. So you immediately also get that gift card depending on the category of recommendation that you have gotten. Okay, so if it is an $100 card, if it is a silver award, I think it's about $100 or so. So you get an $100 card to do your shopping, So all of those improve employee experience. Your performance management system, is it very difficult to use, right? Your learning management system, can you immediately get on your LMS, take training, and then have it recorded in your profile that you have taken it? HR chatbots, that's one of the successes I had when I was at Nielsen, because I was part of the regional team that created the HR chatbot. Very fantastic. Eva, that was the name we called the chatbot. It simplified the work I have to do as an HR business partner, because all the jam questions that employees will come and ask me as an HR business partner have been coded in that chatbot. So instead of you setting up a meeting with your HR BP, you can just go to Eva and say, hi Eva, where can I find my payslip? Or hi Eva, I have this issue. What do I need to do to solve it? And then Eva, like ChatGPT, tells you what you need to do, and then you go ahead to doing it. But then if Eva can then not answer your question, guess what? It is referring you to your HR BP. It is giving your HR BP, your HR BP's email address. You can click on that, and send an email inquiry straight up. Employee experience. So your HR tech stack must be able to do all of those. And when you implement all of these systems, you will see that you're able to manage time, you are able to simplify your processes, you are able to commit your time to doing much more strategic activities in HR, and much more importantly, you are able to also collect data to understand the trends, to predict the future, and to prescribe solutions. I hope with these few points of mine, before we go into the practical session, I've been able to confuse you I've been able to convince you, pardon me, and not confuse you that HR analytics is a game changer. Do we have any questions before, or should I just move on? I don't want us to go into all of this because of our time, but like I said, you will have all of this data, okay? SDV, should I take questions now, or I should just go to the Excel straight up?
You can go to the practical session straight up.
Okay, sir. So this practical is going to be very fast. It's going to be really, really fast because of our time. But then you can always watch the Excel document again, or you can connect with us on the HPAN WhatsApp group to ask questions. So I have an HR database here. I hope everyone can see my screen. Please confirm that you can see my screen. Hello, guys. Can you see my screen?
Yes, but you can maximize it. Yes, I can. I'm sure we can also.
Okay, maximize. I don't want it to be more than 100% zoom so that I don't have to struggle.
Just go ahead.
Okay, all right. So this is a typical database, right? You can see date of birth, you can see age, you can see marital status, You can see physical posture, the date the guy, the employee joined the organization, their tenure of stay. You can see state of origin, you can see IS education, you can see their years of experience, their religion. You can see the location, work location, you can see their department, job status, grade level. So this is a typical database. Of course, you may have more on your database. And what I've done here, I've splitted their names into first name, last name, middle name, etc. And I can easily also collapse this if I don't want my database to be too large. So I can use the concatenate function to collapse. So concatenate this, comma, this, okay? So again, like I said, just follow me. I know you may not get all of this, but when you watch the recording again, you will get it, okay? Yeah, so I have this, and then I can just, okay? So I've been able to simplify or to collapse, I think that's a better word, to collapse 3 columns into one. And I did that using the concatenate function. Someone may help me put it on the chat to collapse columns into a single column, the data in different columns to a single column, you use the concatenate function. And if you want to separate what you have on that column, that single column, you want to expand to more columns, you use text to column function. All right, so we have name, we have gender, we have all of those. So let's quickly create an HR dashboard. Why am I saying we need to create an HR dashboard? Because the HR dashboard is the simplified summary of your HR data, and it helps you with analysis. So when you create an HR dashboard, you're able to analyze your data from your HR dashboard, and you're able to come up with a story that backs up your initiatives. Please, do we get that?
Yes,
Hello?
we did. Yes, we did. You can go ahead.
Okay, great.
But
because
it's practical, I'm sorry, please. Because it's practical, maybe you take it a bit slowly.
Okay, I was just watching time, but it is fine. So just let me know what time I can finish that is safe.
We should be done here by, we should be done with practical by 8:30. So we have 18 minutes to do that.
All right, okay, that is fine. So let's quickly take a look at the question we have here. Clean the data and create an HR dashboard considering the following metrics. So we have metrics. We are looking at gender distribution, IS education, physical posture, marital status, tenure, job status, and department. Now, what we are doing by creating this is that we are going to come up with descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics is the most basic step of analytics that describes a situation. So we are going to describe gender distribution. What is the percentage of male to female? Okay, do we have grade level? Let me quickly check if we have grade level, because I even want to be able to track. Yes, we have grade level. So yes, I think I'll just include grade level in what we are looking at, because I want us to be able to solve at least one problem or to look at least one insight in this. So to do that, to create our dashboard, Control A, and you need to hit your Control A twice. So SDV, I'm also going to share this Excel document so that people can practice with it.
Thank you.
Alongside the slide. So you Control A twice, let me do that again. When you Control A once and you see that it didn't capture every active cell of your data, in other words, it didn't capture the headers, that's your row 6, you need to then Control A again. The reason why I didn't capture it is because I have turned it to an Excel table. So I need to be able to let the Excel know that I want you to capture the headers. So that's why you need to highlight everything twice. Control A, 1, 2. After you have done that, you then need to go to insert, okay? Pardon me. So I'm going to insert a pivot table. You can see that here under insert, pivot table. The pivot table helps me to analyze or to simplify each column on this entire database, okay? So yes, I'm picking from table 3, I want a new worksheet, and I want to add this data to data model so that my analysis can be fluid. Okay, so it will create another sheet for me. Yeah. So let's not forget, what is the first metric we are looking for? Gender distribution, am I correct? So
Yes,
we are
please.
creating a pivot table to show gender distribution. And then all I need to do is to come to my pivot table fields and search for gender. Okay, this is my gender. So I click my gender, it comes to a row, and then I drag it to values. Why do we need to do rows and values? When you drag to rows, it gives you description like headers. When you drag to value, it gives you number. I take that again. When you drag to row, it gives you description like headers. When you drag to value, it gives you number, the corresponding number. Okay, so I can see here that we have 36 female and 71 male in this observation. However, in the presentation of my data, I would prefer to use percentages other than whole numbers, okay? So I'm just going to change that to percentages. Show values as percentage of grand total. So yes, I have that percentage. And then the next, the next metric is what? highest education. So the same process, Control A, then Alt NV. Alt NV is actually the simplest. It helps you to easily create, what you are looking at creating. So when you write Alt NV, it creates a pivot table for you. That way you are not using your mouse. Okay, so it's either you use that Alt or you start. So I'm from home, you go to insert, you look for pivot table, but just typing Alt NV on my keyboard creates a pivot table for me. So it helps me work faster. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm creating the second pivot table on the same worksheet. So I'm not having to open plenty worksheets. And then I'm looking for highest education. So again, who can help me? What do I need to do?
You search for education.
Okay, yes, I've done that. What next?
So let's allow.
I'm not hearing you, SDV.
Yes, I said I wanted to say let's allow participants to also contribute. I want to be sure they are following. So maybe you just take a 10 seconds break. Hello, everyone. Please confirm you are following this practical session. Anyone can just unmute their mics. Let's be sure you are following. So just one person. Okay, somebody says we are following. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So just go ahead. They are following. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, great. So once I'm done with this, the next pivot table we are creating, I will need someone to volunteer to guide me. Okay, just to be sure that we are getting it. So you drag to rows, then you drag to values. You drag highest education to values. So it gives you the count per highest level of education. So for bachelor's degree, you can see only 8 people have bachelor's degree. Bachelor's degree for professional certification, you can see 6 of them. HND 2, HND for professional certification 14, master's degree 44, master's degree plus professional certification 9, OND 16, PhD 8. This learning organization. Okay, so that has given us that. You can also make it percentage, or you can leave it as number. I think I would prefer percentage. So I show my values as percentage of grand total. And then I can change the decimal points if I wish. So the next metric we are looking at is, please let's leave this physical posture, okay? My marital status. Let's go to job status and department. So the next thing we are looking at is job status, department, and let's say grade. So let's look at 3 more: job status, department, and grade. So the next one we are looking at now is job status. Can we quickly do that? So what do I need to do? Who is running it? Job status.
So someone can please unmute themselves, and so maybe I don't want to call names, but please, let's be sure you're following. Can you unmute yourself and guide our facilitator? We want to confirm that you're following and you understand what he's doing. Anyone, please, quickly. Okay, you're not able to unmute. Okay, sorry, let me change the settings quickly. All right, you can do it now. I've done that. Anyone, quickly? Shokunbe Oluwaseun.
Hi, good evening. I'm here.
All right, go ahead, please. Guide our facilitator. Thanks.
Okay. As regards the jobs, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Control A, highlight all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then click on pivot.
I've done that.
Yeah. Existing. Yeah.
Okay. I've done that.
Okay. Then we'll drag job status to. Sorry, can you move to the right, so I can see where.
Yeah.
Like to the extreme right, where I can see where we are dragging into to the role and value.
Okay. Thank you. Please let's give him an round of applause. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well done, Oluwaseun, my namesake. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yes. So we've done that. To move faster, let me quickly. We have 8 more minutes. I'll play the remaining 2 very, very fast. So I'm looking for department now and grade. I'll drag it to rows, and then I'll drag it to values. Okay. This is longer. Then the last one will be job grade. And then we'll be done. Great, right? Great. Dragging from rows and then values. So yes, we have our pivot tables. Now let's quickly take a look at these pivot tables. You know that this is a summary of the entire worksheet here. So if you want to know the number of male and female, for instance, you can just filter and say female, just for you to check, right? Female employees, they are 36. What did our pivot table give us? 36, right? 33.6%. And then your male employees, they are 71, yeah. They are 71 in number. And that is the exact thing that our pivot table has given us. So your pivot table helps you to simplify. There's another function on Excel, another formula on Excel that you can use to derive this, and it is the count if function. Count if function, but we are not going there today because of our time. So now that we have our pivot tables, the next thing we want to do is to create our pivot charts. So when you highlight any part of these pivot tables, you will see pivot table analyze on your tab, right? Something around here. I'm hovering my cursor around it or over it. So just click pivot table analyze, and then you see pivot chart option. So you create your pivot chart. For this comparison, I like to use a donut chart. Okay, so my chart comes up. And then to make it neat, I'll take it to another sheet. This Zoom. Okay, so I paste it there, gender distribution. The next metric is highest education. I do the same thing. Is coming. This Zoom, whatever, is really disturbing me. Okay, yes, I've been able to hide it. So pivot table analyze. Column charts, beautiful. Control X, and then I Control V here. And then I do the same for every other pivot table. Then I come and paste. I think I have just two more.
Don't worry, just conclude that. You can conclude that even if it's over 2 minutes.
Okay, all right. We are getting to the end of it. And then the last one. I'd like to use a bar chart for this. Okay. So yes, I have all my charts, in the same sheet, and I need to then make it nice in order to be able to analyze and tell my story. So I'll delete all of these guys by removing all filled buttons on charts. So need to reduce it to large. And I don't need this legend. Okay. Then our grade. Okay. Take it out. Then I reduce the size. Place it somewhere here. Then my job status. Are they active? Are they outsourced? I think there is one more, right? Yes, department. Okay, this bar chart, you will agree with me, it's not looking nice. So I may just filter. Sorry, from highest to lowest, or lowest to highest, whichever one. Yeah. I have that here. And then the next thing I want to do is just to make my Excel look nice. Okay. So view, I don't want these grid lines. Neither do I want grid lines here. So I remove my grid lines. Okay. Please, I hope you are all following and have not gotten anyone lost.
We are still together, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. I'm not a very good designer, so if my chart is looking ugly, just pardon me, please. I also don't know colors. You know, my name is Abegunde, so a masquerade will wear many colors. I'm not a masquerade.
It is the insight that is the most important thing for us, the insight, not the aesthetics.
Yeah, that is very important. Okay. Okay, this may waste my time, so I actually want to just reduce the size of this guy, but I'm not able to at the moment, so let's quickly move on. So yes, this is our dashboard. And you can view it in one glance. So you can see from these charts, the gender distribution, you can see highest education, you can see the number of people in different departments, you can see their job grades, right? Even this job grade, I think it would have been better as what's it called? Bar chart. So I'll change the type, change it to bar, and I'll filter it. What's that again? Job grade. Okay. So this is our dashboard. You can see the percentage of male to female employees, and then you can start querying this dashboard. So it is not enough for you to just create a dashboard. It is about the insight you are able to get out of the dashboard. And one of the tools that can help you to do that are your filter tools. Your filter tools in Excel. So we are going to create one filter tool now. We call it Slicer. So when you come to insert, you will see Slicer under your filter tools, okay? And then you can create your filter, click on the data model, open the data model. What do I want to use to filter? I want to use gender to filter, okay? So my gender comes up. I've created my filter, but I also need to report connection so that all the data models were created earlier can be reported. So reporting connections helps me to link that slicer to all the different pivot tables that I created so that it can be integrated, right? Okay, so because of our time, let me just limit it to this one. Now, if I click on mail, all of this dashboard, this entire dashboard will return values for me or to me for just the male employees. So job grade level, I will see how many male are deputy managers, how many are assistant managers, how many are senior banking officer, how many are managers, how many are assistant general managers. Job category, I will see how many men are contract, outsourced, or permanent. I will also see the number of men in each department and the men distribution per qualification, okay? So let's do that. Can you see that? So again, you can label your data, right? So just click on data label so that it can give you, again, I don't want numbers, I want percentages. So let me change this to percentages. Everything should change to percentages. Sorry about this. Percentages, yeah. So let's look at our dashboard. So I can see that we have 49%, 49.3% of our contract staff are male, 25.3% are outsourced, while 25.3% are permanent. And in terms of job grade, we don't have any AGM that is a man. We have DGM, but only 1.4% of the men in this organization are at the deputy general manager level. Most of the men are banking officers, that is 18.31%. Then we have deputy manager being 15%, executive assistant 7%, assistant banking officer 5%, assistant manager 4%, manager is 2%. So if we look at the managerial cadre, the deputy manager cadre is what? Is 15%, AM is what? 4%, right? That's 19%. Manager itself is 2%, that's 21%, and then deputy manager is 1%. So 23%, right? 23% of the management level staff are male. That is what it's telling you. You have most of them in marketing, next is infotech, credit administration, etc. Now let's look at female. 58% of the employees, of the contract staff are female. 19.4% outsourced and 22% are permanent. Of these permanent staff, 30% are banking officers, right? You even have deputy GMD being a female. Two of them, 2%. You have bankers in training, 5%. You have executive assistants, 5%. You have assistant managers, 13%. What again? AA, what is AA now? 2%. Now, what insight does this give us? Male to female employees, what insight does this give us? And remember, you only have 38, is it 38? No, 34 female in this organization and 71 male, thereabout. So if you have this job grade level, this job category and highest education, what do you think about this organization? Will you say female are well represented or not, even though there is disparity in the gender count?
It means that they are underrepresented.
Sorry? Hello?
I said it means that they are underrepresented.
I'm not hearing you, you are breaking.
Oh, wow. I said it means that the female gender is underrepresented at those levels and cadre.
They are underrepresented at those levels and cadres. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have another opinion? Any other opinion? Okay, so for me, I actually think that this employer seems to, even though there is a gender gap, a really, really wide gender gap, I think the female employees are quite well represented. If you look at the chart again, male to female, you will see that the female employees, I mean, you have at the executive management level, you have more female employees than male employees. Also at the entry level, you have more female employees than the male employees. So this organization, I want to believe, I've seen that there is so much more male employees in their system, and they are deliberately bringing in more females. So bankers in training, you don't have any male at all. Meanwhile, you have female, 5%, right? Executive assistants, you have 5% male, you have 5% female. Banking officers, female represent 30%, male represent about 22 point something percent. So this organization, even though you have more male than female, the female seems to be occupying the key positions, because when you look at it, you don't just look at the percentages, you look at the number of the female employees that are in this organization. 34 against 71. I don't know if I'm speaking to someone.
Yes, please, you are.
So if I have 34 female employees, and out of those 34 female employees, I have an assistant, I have a deputy MD, I have assistant managers, and then all the bankers in training are female. Many of the banking officers are female. Many of the executive assistants are also female. They are trying to put female employees in strategic levels. That is what I see to this data. Of course, there are much more things we can do with this data. So you can use this data, for instance, to make a case that apart from doing this, we need to actually employ more female employees. Let us balance the trend. If we have 71, and we employ more male employees, and we can see that they are much more in marketing, okay? They are much more in marketing and information technology. What other departments can female employees function optimally? You can look at their performance data. You know, you can look at their highest education. So among the master's degree holder, over 40% are actually female. Interesting. So the females are also well-read. You have PhD, you have HND for professional certification, but you have most of them having master's degree and master's and professional certification. You can also say that the reason the female employees are well-placed is because they are also well-read. Okay, so there are many insights we can actually draw from this data, but this is not sufficient to just make it clear. You need to create more pivot tables, more charts, and draw conclusions from there. So as we wrap up, what problems can we solve with a data set like this? You can use it to solve gender distribution problems. You can use it to solve performance-related problems. You can use it to look at, what's it called now? Whether your organization is in alignment with federal character. Do you have a particular tribe? You know, your recruitment, do you have more people from a particular tribe or not? So a lot of things that you can actually look at, and the first steps for you to go through is actually creating your pivot tables, convert your pivot table into pivot charts, and tell an impressive story from your charts. That is where this leaves us. I want to appreciate SDV for the time again to facilitate this session. At this point, I want to welcome questions.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm short of words, but let me say we are very, very grateful for this session. You took us from, I can see the claps already coming in the virtual claps. You took us from people analytics to digitalizing HR, that's HR technology. She took us from there to teaching us intermediate Excel and also teaching us practical way of creating HR dashboard. Emmanuel, we are so grateful and thanks a lot for sharing your Saturday evening with us. Can you please keep the claps coming? If you know you have gained something new from this class, please let's appreciate Emmanuel Abegunde. I can see your wife is hailing you already. Thank you so much. Can we please let's appreciate him. Thanks a lot, everyone. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I know that this class will not end where it is. It's either we have a second webinar or we organize a physical class such that we can learn a lot more. So let's now go ask a few questions. I don't know if anyone has more questions. You can see what it's doing to the dashboard already. You can see what it's doing to it already, aesthetics. So I saw a question. Okay, I think it's been answered already. Somebody wanted to know how you can keep all your dashboard on the same pivot sheet, and that's about it. And the answer is just click use existing sheet, which Emmanuel Afolabi already answered. I wouldn't know if there are any more questions, but let me just ask one or two before we go. So we hear people analytics, HR analytics, and we hear metrics, HR metrics. Can you distinguish, for the sake of those who do not know, can you distinguish the difference between HR analytics and HR metrics? Thank you, Emmanuel. I'm sure you got that.
Okay. Yes, I did. Where's my Zoom? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. So, difference between HR metrics and HR analytics, am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So, like I defined earlier, HR analytics is about collection of data, analyzing the data, and telling a story from the data to solve problems. HR metrics, on the other hand, are performance, what do I call it now?
Indicators.
Someone should help me. Performance indicators, yeah, as it were. So if you want to work on analytics, you actually need metrics, okay, to know what you are looking at. For instance, when you are measuring performance, you need your metrics to measure performance. So what are your KPIs? After your KPIs have been designed, you need metrics to make it measurable. So metrics actually helps you to measure, as the name implies, metrics for measuring. But you will not succeed at your analytics process without having metrics, because all the numbers you are reporting are supposed to be attached to a particular metric or the other. So looking at the example we have given, we have numbers for male and female. The metric is gender distribution. Do you understand? If you are looking at your recruitment system, you have different metrics. You actually check the performance of your recruitment system. Your time to hire is a metric. Your cost of hire is a metric. Do you understand? So your metrics actually helps you to be able to pull your number together and measure performance. That is actually the simplest way I think I can answer it.
Thank you so much. That was very spot on. That's very good response you gave. So just to add to that, for those who are in HR, I know there are some people who are here who are not in HR. So for those who are in HR, I think the first place to start, just like Emmanuel has told us, is first understand your business. HR exists for the business. You can't begin your journey into analytics without first understanding your business and the pain points of the business. If, for instance, today, the pain points of your business is that you have employees leaving, you understand? That's the pain point. So you need to know why they are leaving. So what data do you need? The data would be, what do employees feel or what do they tell us during exit interview? So the number of complaints from the exit interview would give you insights. The nature of the complaint, are they complaining about their line manager? Are they complaining about proximity, like Emmanuel told us? Maybe your competitors are majorly on mainland and you're on island. So your employees are leaving because they want to go and work in Ikeja. And that's because they live close to Ikeja, whereas your office is at Lekki, right? So you want to solve the problem of attrition. So you need to get data. What data relates to attrition? And what data relates to people leaving? That data will be gotten from first your exit records on a monthly basis when you do your head count audit. How many people are leaving? Then from which departments are they leaving? Now, when you now do exit interviews for them, what are they saying? These are the data. So the first thing is the business problem is attrition, which is, you can call it involuntary attrition, voluntary attrition. That's a business problem. What do you want to solve from HR perspective? You want to reduce attrition. So what data do you need to reduce attrition? So you need data from exit leavers every month. You also need data, which department are they leaving from? You also need data that will tell you what is the reason why they are leaving. So all these data, right, will now determine the metric you want to measure. So, and for that, you can now say, oh, attrition rates. That is also a metric to help you solve a business problem, which is what? Employee turnover. All right, just to also add to what Emmanuel said. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have looked at the chat box. I have not seen any more questions, but I know that we have gained valuable insights from this class. And like I said, we may have a part 2 of this particular topic, people analytics, because it's very important. And as we called it, is a game changer for every HR professional. Let me just quickly do a summary of what we've done today. We started from looking at what people analytics is, it's all about, HR analytics. And Emmanuel told us it's about analyzing people data, right? Sorry, collecting data, analyzing, and looking into them. That is getting insight to solve business problem. Okay? And that is basically all it's about. And before you talk of analytics, you also need to leverage on HR technology. Microsoft Excel that we have used today is a form of technology, right? All the various HR softwares that we use today are forms of technology. So you can't talk about analytics without talking about HR technology. And it took us on a journey of various areas in the HR where we can digitalize our HR operations for efficiency. Then we looked at how to create an HR dashboard. And it took us from looking at employee biodata, right? All the data we collect at entry, from name, from age, from the department, and all of that. And we analyze that data using a pivot function in Excel. And he also used the pivot chart function, taking all the pivot table into a chart. And we created a clean HR dashboard. And you can go further to color it or remove whatever to make it look finer. And I saw what he was doing towards the end. He was trying to reduce the what do we call it now? I forgot what we call that now. To make it finer. You understand? You reduce, there is a way you can reduce the texture or something, transparency now, yeah. Transparency of all your charts to make it finer with a very good background. So, ladies and gentlemen, HR analytics or people analytics is truly a game changer. You can't go to business leaders with an initiative without coming to speak to them with data. And one of the things we learned today is, if you are in the meeting room, or you are in an organization, and every time you go to a meeting, you say, I think, then you cannot influence anything, because today's HR is done from a data perspective, not opinion perspective. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have all seen and confirmed that truly HR analytics is a game changer. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining. We would ensure we share the recording of today's webinar in the HPA WhatsApp group. And I've shared the link for those who want to join. Let me do that again before we close. In case you want to have access to today's recording and have access to even previous webinars we've done, and also have access to subsequent webinars, also interact with professionals, please feel free to join us. Once again, thank you so much. Ginosco, that's your nickname that we call you. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. And thanks to your wife for also coming to give you the moral support. Thanks to the admin of HPAN. Thanks to everyone that has joined today's webinar. And I want to wish every one of us an interesting rest of our day and evening and the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much for joining. And I want to say bye for now. So as we close, let's drop our appreciation to our facilitator. And we wish that you would join the network and be a part of all our programs. Thank you so much, and do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Emmanuel, we appreciate you. Mrs. Abegunde, we appreciate you. Esther, Isaiah, Timitope, thank you for joining. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Bye for now.